Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2026 Lexus LX700h and the 2026 BMW X7 M60i. I borrow these from Hedrick Lexus and Hedrick BMW Northlake, so take a look at their links down in the description, along with full detailed reviews that we've been able to make on both of these SUVs. So let's start off with their MSRPs. Both of these models are just over $118,000. You do have a few different options, of course, where that price can increase or decrease depending on the trim level that you go with. But let's move on to what powers these. The Lexus has a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 hybrid. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic, pumps out 457 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque. The X7 has a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 paired to an 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. They both offer their respective all-wheel drive systems. However, the BMW also features all-wheel steering as well. They both weigh in right around 6,000 pounds. You'll expect 0 to 60 to be 6.4 seconds for the Lexus, closer to 6 seconds for the BMW. Top speed is going to be at 130 for the Lexus, 155 miles an hour for the BMW. And then as far as fuel economy goes, you're looking at 19 and 22 for the Lexus, and then 16 in the city, 21 out on the highway for the BMW. It also features a little bit larger of a fuel tank compared to the Lexus. And then both of these are towing SUVs. The BMW will tow right around 7,500 pounds, closer to 8,000 pounds for the Lexus. Now, as we move on to the exterior styling, you'll notice they have a much different front-end design. The Lexus has the classic hourglass design with some gloss black accents that separate the grille from the bodywork. There's also LEDs for the lighting with a dark housing. You'll notice all the parking sensors, forward-facing camera, the sensor for distance pacing, and a lot of cutouts provide cooling as needed. Now, over on the BMW, you'll notice the kidney grille finished off in gloss black and matte black. There's a forward camera, sensor for distance pacing, and some larger inlets in the lower section. Definitely more sporty of a design for this front bumper and its functionality. And then you'll notice the split design for the headlights. So headlights and high beams, DRLs and turn signals, with the bodywork in the middle, and then some more subtle lines coming down the hood versus the larger bulges in the Lexus. As we work our way to the side, there's a few different wheel options that you can go with, and you'll notice in this comparison, we have a street tire for the BMW with the 22-inch wheels, really nice two-tone design. For the Lexus, this has an all-terrain tire with a much smaller wheel with an 18 there. So a little bit more geared towards off-roading versus on-road performance. You'll notice the gloss black trim accents versus body colored for the BMW there. Now, this also gets a camera and a turn signal for the side mirrors. You will get that on the BMW as well. And then there's also a roof rack and a full moonroof. For the Lexus, you just have the sunroof in the front section. This model also has some roof rack attachments at the moment. And then as we take a step back, you'll notice that the Lexus is definitely much larger, a little bit more bulky versus some of the slimmer lines that you get with the Lexus there. So a little bit more of a sporty off-roading vibe versus more of a classic, more luxury-focused on-road performance vehicle there. So the Lexus can kind of do both in one. Now at the back, there's a large spoiler. You have LEDs for the lighting, backup camera, all the sensors, full-size spare underneath. And then there's also a cover for the hitch, so you can hide that away as needed, giving it more of that luxury vibe. Now, once we enter the cargo space, which you can use the key fob as well, this is a 3-row SUV, and you'll notice since this is a hybrid, we do have some of those components located in the back. So with the third row up, you have this storage shelf that you can use, and as you can tell, that's not really all that large behind the third row. With the third row down, you get a little bit more space, as you can tell. Now, they're also automatic, so you have those adjustments, and then you also have cup holder storage, and then you can recline these seats too, just to get a little bit more comfortable. So with that hybrid system, you do lose a little bit of height and some functionality, but it's still a spacious vehicle nonetheless. Now, as we work our way to the BMW, a little bit more classy for the rear end here with some of the trim accents. You have an exposed exhaust on both sides, backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then the hitch is an option. This one does not have it currently installed, of course. Now with the X5, you have the split liftgate. So you can just open the upper section, or you can open the lower section as well. This model also has adaptive suspension, so it does have the ride height adjustments. You can push that button to lower the rear end to make it easier to load and unload items as needed. Now you'll notice with the third row up, you do have a little bit more storage, and you have quite a lot underneath where you can also place that cover too. So it's a little bit deeper with the third row. And then same thing as the Lexus, they're all automatic. So you can even adjust the second row from back here. Just going to slide them forwards. They won't fold all the way flat, but nonetheless, you still have a good bit of space, and then you can easily close both of those. Now, as we work our way back to the Lexus, there's proximity door handles, so you can grab any door to lock and unlock it. This has the manual sunshades in the back, Mark Levinson for the audio, in a really nice kind of greenish color with the wood trim accents and some lighting above that. You do have a few different options that you can spec the interior of this model. And then the easiest way to get into the third row, simply pull on this recline lever, and if you hold it in one motion, you can flip that seat up, giving you some space to hop into the back. Now for this third row, it is a little bit on the small side in terms of how high my knees are up, but I have a good bit of leg space overall. And at 5'10", I'm just barely touching the headliner. So you would be much smaller than me, you'd be more comfortable. I could maybe ride around town in the back, but it would be better for some smaller kids. Still usable though, if you need to use them. Now you have cup holders, you have an auxiliary, you can recline these seats. You can also fold and unfold them with those controls down below. And then you have that cargo window there, just to provide a little bit more light. And then you can lock this seat into place and then fold it back up. Now you also get grab handles, and then at my height, I have a good bit of space down below where you'll notice there's storage pockets too. You have vents in the middle. You get heated and ventilated rear seats along with your temperature adjustments, dual zone here, fan speed in the middle. You also have some auxiliaries located down below, and you can even gain access to the cooled box from back here. So that way you can push on that control and grab some drinks. And then you have a small bulge right in the middle there. And at my height, I have 3 or 4 inches of headroom. So very spacious for your second row. You also have the armrest, which has the cup holders that will open up, so you can flip that up as needed. And then you have some large windows in the back there, so you can easily see. So a little bit tight on the third row, but not too uncomfortable for what it is. And then working our way to the X7, there's no proximity door handle on the back, but you can grab the front doors and easily unlock it. Now this model does not have manual sunshades because they are automatic. So you have these controls down below where you can raise and lower them. You can also do the moonroof and some of the rear shades too, which is really nice. You have a lot more storage down below. And then with the captain's chairs here, all you have to do is pull on this backrest, and then the front seat needs to move out of the way before the third row or the second row here can move. So it does take a little bit more time compared to the Lexus, where it's continuing to raise and get out of your way there. Now you do have some controls here, just like in the Lexus, in order to adjust the third row. And then once we hop in, they are a little bit higher. You can move this seat forwards to get some more leg space there, but my knees aren't quite as high as they were in the Lexus, and I have about a finger of space here above my head. What's interesting with the third row is that you have heated seats along with your own climate adjustments that you can go through, which is really neat, and you have this sunshade that you can open and close. You do get a cup holder, you get some ambient lighting, and then that window's about the same, a little bit different of a shape to it compared to the Lexus. This model also gets Alcantara for the headliner too, which is a nice accent. So it's a little bit more functional in the third row for this over the Lexus. And with it all the way back, it's pretty easy to hop in. Now you don't have any grab handles, but it is a little bit lower than the Lexus. Now you have storage pockets. You have an area you can place and attach and charge tablets. And then you get heated seats, all of your adjustments for your climates, some storage, auxiliaries, and cup holders down below. And then at my height, I have about 3 inches or so of headspace here, where you can also recline these seats, of course, and you have the adjustable armrest too. So you can also get a bench seat too, but you have the option of going with the captain's chairs, which is a nice feature. You can do that with the Lexus as well. So just a really nice place to be. Now, as we work our way up front, this has memory seating adjustments. You can adjust the front passenger seat from here, along with rear seat adjustments, all of the window controls, and then storage down below. And then a really nice front seat here. Now, as we start this up, that's located down below, we are greeted with a solid leather steering wheel. There's a lot of brushed aluminum accents. You have volume, voice commands, tuning, and then you can use this button right in the middle to go through quite a lot of content. So in the digital gauge cluster here, you can easily scroll through all of this, even an augmented reality camera that you can pull up and just go through all of this as needed. You also have a few different layouts depending on how you'd like to view it. And the last one is the head-up display. So you can go through all of this information as needed, which is nice. On the left side, there's the cruise control settings. You have storage down below, along with all the headlights. There's one air vent. Carbon fiber and Harman Kardon for the audio are options, of course. You get leather for the entire dash, and then a massive infotainment system where everything in the lower section is fixed. So you can get into your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Drive Recorder. You have quite a lot of apps that you can get into. You have your climates, your navigation and music, and then heated and ventilated seats, a heated steering wheel, and temperature adjustments. Now there's also more vents underneath that. You have volume and tuning, and then wireless charging, auxiliaries, and cup holders with some more storage there. You can also use the controls down below, so you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system, which is nice. So you can easily go through all of this. And then here's the control for the suspension, so you can raise and lower it as needed. And then this is how you can put it into reverse. So you have the backup camera with the top-down view. You have the 360 angle, so you can go through all of these angles as needed and quickly pull up all of this. Now, if you put it into drive, you can bring up the forward-facing angle and full screen. There's also sport mode and park, and then traction control, parking sensors, and a few different driving modes. So depending on the throttle response that you would like, you can adjust those as needed. You have auto hold and the e-brake, a split design for the armrest in the middle with that storage. You get a locking glove box along with the M badge, which is illumination there. And then there's garage door buttons up top, dome lights, and controls for the sunroof and sunshade. And then here's a look at visibility, where it's pretty easy to see over both shoulders. You have quite a lot of glass in both directions, so there's really not much of a pillar in the back. And as we work our way to the Lexus now, this also has memory seating adjustments. There's all of the window controls, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding, and then you get storage down below. And then another great design for this interior, where you get grab handles for this model here, since it sits a little bit higher. We also have a different placement for the start button there. We have a leather wrap steering wheel with paddle shifters as well. And then all of the cruise control settings with mode and tuning. And then the left side, you have volume, voice commands, and a little bit different of a design for the digital gauge cluster. So you'll notice that you can go through 1, 2, and 3 just by going left or right. And if you hold on OK, this is how you can configure the information within this entire screen. So just depending on what you would like to see, you can set all 3 of these to the information that you would like, and you have shortcuts built in that you can get to as needed. So that is about it, but it is nice that you can go through that. Now on the left side, you get a trailer braking system along with your fuel cap release. There's the lift gate. You have a power outlet in that rear cargo space. You also have odometer and dimmer switches for the gauges, and this view button where you can bring up the camera system here. So before moving, you can pull this up so that way you can see around the vehicle before driving. Now this model also has a head-up display, so it's showing miles per hour, speed limit, all of that information. And then there are actually 2 screens in this model, so unlike the large curved screen in the BMW, where you have fixed information on this left side, so you can quickly get through all of this. You even have seat controls where you can get into the massaging seats, which is really nice. You have your driving assistance and the rest of these tech features to go through, different driving information, and then all of the settings here to get into as needed. Now for the screen underneath that, you can get into your climates. So there's the fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go. You can get into your rear adjustments as well. Get back into this screen here where you can also see your braking and accelerating, the drive mode that you were in, and then you have some ambient lighting that you can monitor too. Now there's also physical buttons underneath that for some of your defrosters, your temperature dials, and recirc there. And then this model, being a little bit more off-road focused, has multi-terrain select and the downhill assist and crawl control. So you can use those in 4 low. With this 4-wheel drive system, you can go from 4 high and 4 low there to activate all of those features. And then you also have a mode selector too, where you do have quite a lot of on-road driving modes that you can go through as needed. Now this also has heated and ventilated seats, a heated steering wheel, tons of storage, parallel parking as well. And then when you put this into reverse, you only have the rear view and the top down, and then you can pull up the forward facing camera as well. And then park's located behind that. Now there's also auto hold and the e-brake, you get a center locker, there's also traction control, and with the adaptive suspension, you can raise and lower this model. Wireless charging is in the middle, and then you can open up your cooled box and gain access from 3 sides basically, which is really nice. You have your cup holders there, plenty of room in the glove box, and then a digital rear view mirror, which is fantastic. You have garage door buttons on one side, and then if you can't really see with those headrests up, just flip this up, and now you have better visibility. You do get a sunglass holder up top, and then controls for your dome lights, and then the sunroof as well. And then here's a look at visibility with this jumbo 3-row SUV. So with the exteriors and interiors wrapped up, let's get both of these SUVs out on the road and see how they drive. So we'll start off behind the wheel of the Lexus in Sport Plus second gear. Here we go. And a minor acceleration. We have so much power for this to get up and move. You have a lot more potential than what I just did. And the paddles are actually pretty responsive for this type of vehicle. So this is what it's like to drive this Lexus LX700h. You definitely sit very high up. This is like being in a pickup truck with the size of this SUV, but you also have a really good amount of visibility too. So while it's a large vehicle, it's very easy to drive, and especially if you are taking it off the pavement, which I have been able to do, it's a lot of fun and super capable. So this is going to give you the luxury aspects of not only being a Lexus from this luxury brand, but it's going to give you a vehicle that you can go on some adventures. So while you have basically the best of both worlds with this, you have the adaptive suspension to give you the comfort for on-road driving, and then you have your creature comforts for off-roading with the all-wheel drive system, which is fantastic. As a driver too, at 5'10", I have about 2 or 3 inches of headroom with this height adjustable seat, so you can dial that in as needed, which is nice. And then you have a good bit of space overall. I will say I am a huge fan of most of the manual adjustments in the back. The third row is automatic, but the second row being manual is fantastic. It's much quicker than the X7, so if you are getting into third row a lot, this is going to be much, much easier and quicker for those types of situations. Well, let's give it one more acceleration here. We also have some of the safety tech features on, but even just a small acceleration like that, you can feel the power. This is quick. It may not be fast through some twisty roads, but with the suspension, it'll tighten up a little bit in sport mode and get you through. You'll still feel some body weight. It's not a performance SUV, but you have a lot of straight line power and a really fun vehicle to drive. So let's hop into the X7 now and see the differences. And in sport mode second gear, here we go. You're definitely going to get a little bit beefier of an exhaust note with the V8 versus the V6 in the Lexus, but paddles are going to be super responsive. BMW is really known for putting a lot of their performance from their sports cars and their coupes into their SUVs. So with this M60, you are definitely going to get some of those handling and performance characteristics, even though this is at the end of the day a 3-row family SUV. But behind the wheel now for this, as far as headroom goes, I have maybe 4 inches or so of headroom, so it's actually pretty spacious. And you do have a height adjustable seat. It will actually show you where you're moving it on the screen there, which is pretty interesting to see. But the X7 here is mainly going to be an on-road vehicle. You do have the height adjustment. I own an X5 myself. I have actually taken it off the pavement, but it's nothing major, you know, some gravel roads, a little bit of dirt, things like that. So you have the option of raising this up if you need to go off the pavement, but it is not geared like the Lexus where that can go off the pavement. So this is going to be more going on long road trips, going on some back roads, having a little bit more performance to your drive, but it's also going to be just as comfortable. Both of these for daily driving with the adaptive suspension, just a nice comforting vehicle to get behind the wheel and daily drive. So it really just depends. Both of these are probably going to see the pavement every day, but it just depends on the style vehicle you like. You do sit much lower in this, more like an SUV versus the Lexus is more like being in a Tundra or a pickup truck. So you do sit higher up. So back from our quick test drive now with both of these luxury SUVs. Check out the full reviews if you want to see some more driving impressions. I have been able to take the LX700 off the pavement, and it does very, very well. This vehicle is luxury focused. It's a little bit more geared towards off-roading, as you could tell with some of those off-roading features. We have more of an on-road performance vehicle with the BMW X7. So it really just depends on what you plan on doing with your vehicle. Are you going off the pavement a lot? Are you doing some overlanding? Or are you doing some back roads and you want a little bit more of that sporty performance for tight turns and things like that? Honestly, these are both really great vehicles, but again, it depends on your driving style and what you are looking for. I like a mix of both, so if I could, I'd pick up both of them. I really can't decide between both of them because I like to off-road and I like some performance driving. But comment down below, let me know your thoughts. I'd have one for daily driving and one for hitting the road or off-road for the weekend. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.